Hi, my name is Tammy, and I am a self-proclaimed football-holic and sports enthusiast. I have had many hours of discussion with friends and family over sports and teams and competitions, and they suggested that I give this webcast thing a try, so here we go. Welcome to the first webcast of Fan the Flame, a sports show that highlights the fun of sports, not just the facts. Each week, Fan the Flame will talk about games and players that were on fire, and others that didn't even spark our attention. We'll talk about sports reporters and the dumbest questions of the week. And because sports are no fun without friends, Fan the Flame will feature a beer and food pairing segment that will make your next tailgate party or football get-together a smoking success. All right, let's get into the first segment that we're going to do, called Games We Watched. Well, because the season hasn't begun yet, let's talk about preseason. Preseason. What can I say except preseason is like the experiment your kid does for science fair. Harmless, but fun to watch. Coaches are throwing stuff up against the wall to see what sticks, especially with so many trades and the lockout that prolonged the off-season. But hey, it's still football. Our next segment is called Games to Watch for the Week. My favorite games to watch for this week begins with New Orleans and Green Bay Packers. Thursday night game, first game of the regular season. Pregame begins at 4:30 on NBC. The Saints look impressive. Drew Brees is ready to make a run for that coveted Lombardi trophy, but I don't think their first win is going to come Thursday night. You know, Drew Brees has Marquise Colston, but Lance Moore is still out, suffering with a groin injury, and the Saints will have to take this game to the ground, but they got to get past those defensive bookends, Matthews and Hawk, and then Nick Collins. So I don't know how well they're going to fare for a win this week. I think it's going to be Green Bay's game. The next game that's up for suggestion that I would definitely invest my time into is a Pittsburgh-Baltimore game. Now, this game is the old-fashioned kind of grudge match that made me the football fan that I am today. This rivalry is so worth getting up early on a Sunday morning for. Most reports are giving a slight edge to the Steelers, but I don't think that's how it's going to go. I think Flacco is so sick of being in the Big Ben's shadow that this is a do-or-die time for him. He has to get this win in order to set the tempo for the season and silence all his critics. Last year's win, they did win over the Steelers last year, but Roethlisberger was suspended, so I think that was an empty victory for Flacco. I think he wants this win. He wants it bad. Next game that I would suggest spending time on the couch for is Atlanta at Chicago. Jay Cutler, quarterback for Chicago, is reported to have shown up to training camp in shape. Gee, Jake, what a guy. Do you think you could pull yourself together long enough to play football with one of the best teams in the NFC? Really? Even Jake Cutler, though, could do well with the offensive artillery he's got. He gets to work with Matt Forte, with Knox, Williams, Devin Hester, Bennett. I mean, really, don't tell anyone, though. I think Chicago needs to go get Phillip Rivers as their starting quarterback. Whatever it would cost, I think that he would make a perfect fit. He's got the right attitude. I think that the Chicago Bears needs a change on the quarterback. Now let's talk about Matt Ryan, the Falcons quarterback. You know that Matt Ryan has a better quarterback rating than Cutler. The problem is that he has a lot less offensive weapons to use. So this game is going to have to be decided on the defense if Atlanta wants to win. Seattle at San Francisco. Now, this is a long-time team rivalry, and people are saying this game is going to be great. I don't know how good this game is going to be. I mean, the Seattle Seahawks traded Matt Hasselbeck for Tavares Jackson at quarterback. Really? I don't know. I think the real grudge match between the two coaches is the backstory here. It's Pete Carroll and Harbaugh. They were college nemesis, and now they're NFL nemesis. And it'll be interesting to see what happens at the end of the game when both coaches go to shake hands. Hopefully we'll see some action off the field. However, I do give the advantage to San Francisco. I think their defense has the edge on stats, and offensively, they have Alex Smith, who is yet to prove himself, so he better come playing good ball this year. But he also has players like Gore and Davis and Jin. So next game that I would definitely watch and be happy to watch would be the New York Jets in Dallas. This is the Sunday night game. It's a late game, and I think it will be a great ending to a football day. Let's start with the coaching rivalry. The backstory on this one is brother against brother. An NFL coaching dynasty, to say the least. Their dad is Buddy Ryan, built his reputation as a defensive specialist. He is credited for perfecting the 46 defense. Now, Ryan has twin sons, Rex Ryan, who is the head coach of the Jets, and Rob Ryan, who is the newest addition to the Dallas coaching staff. He's a defensive coordinator there. Rumor is that this family is so intense about football that Papa Ryan rescheduled his cancer removal surgery so he could be at home to watch this game. As for the team matchup, you have Dallas. Dallas's quarterback, Tony Romo, he's been out since the third of the season in 2010 with a broken collarbone. He has a lot to prove. Romo has received harsh criticism even before his injury from fans and sports critics alike. Now, back to work with the offense. I mean, with players like Des Bryant and Miles Austin, Felix Jones, there's an even bigger expectation on Romo to do the job he was hired to do. So let's see if he can handle it. In my opinion, I think that Tony Romo has a hard time with pressure. So let's see how he does this year. As for the Jets coming into the season, you have Mark Sanchez, who is constantly getting stronger and pushing the team to better records. Sanchez is working the field with Dustin Keller, San Antonio Holmes, who's an incredible veteran. You've got Sean Green, who's on fire, and hopefully a rehabilitated and motivated Plaxico Burress. The offense looks the strongest it's looked in years, so let's see how that plays. I think it's going to be a great game, and my pick does go to the Jets. I just don't see Dallas defense being able to cover the Jets passing game. Alrighty, on to my favorite top picks of the week for the dumbest questions asked by our sports reporter. This week, I am just going to talk about my biggest pet peeve in NFL, and that is halftime interviews. I think halftime interviews are the stupidest thing that has ever happened in the NFL. What was the thought behind a sports reporter being asked to run up on a coach and ask them as they're going to the locker room about to chew butts off of everybody that's breathing in there, how he feels his team did on the field? If that coach was being honest, he would turn around and say, I'd like to rip your face off right now for asking me such a stupid question. I personally hate halftime interviews. I wish they would get banned. Now, post-game interviews are a different story. I think they're fine, but they need help too. We're not getting the information we want to know. I want to hear from the coach. I want to hear from the quarterback and the running backs and the receivers and all that. As long as they're not pulling their diva card and walking in with their hoodie on and all moody and stuff like that. But why don't we get the line in there? Let's ask some linemen how their game went. Let's ask questions like, what was your favorite tackle today? Who did you want to get a piece of that you didn't? And my personal favorite that I would like to hear is, so what did that quarterback say to you as you were sitting on his chest? I would even want to hear more. I even want to hear more from the offensive and defensive coordinators, and the quarterback coaches. Alrighty, last but not least, we'll get on to the hot deals on jerseys and fan gear. Right now, the hottest deal I see going for NFL licensed merchandise is at Old Navy. They've got women's and men's short sleeve and long sleeve shirts. They range from $16 to $27. They even have college teams if you're interested. And then, of course, like I said, sports without friends is no fun. So hot deals on where to watch the games. Honestly, I was looking. I couldn't find any place right now that are running great specials for the customers when they come to watch the NFL Sunday Ticket games. If you guys have a place that you go to and they run NFL Sunday Ticket and they have specials, please go ahead and leave it on our Facebook page and let everybody know. Just a side note, we love to support mom and pop small businesses, so we love to give shout outs to that. All right, we're getting into tailgate parties and game day get-togethers. If you're planning a football party at your place and the best games are on at 10 a.m., host a kind of party my son Casey just suggested. I think this is such a great idea. It's called a BYOBC, Bring Your Own Box of Cereal. You as the host provide the milk, the mimosas, the juice, the coffee, the whatever, and you ask each guest to bring their favorite cereal. You'll learn a lot about somebody when you see what kind of cereal they say is their favorite. To make it even more fun, you can go to a craft store, hardware store, pick up those small buckets and little shovels if you want to have fun with that. Pull out all your pots or your big mixing bowls out of your cupboards and just do that. You know, have fun, keep it simple, and just remember it's really all about football. Alrighty, the last segment that we're going to talk about today is something that will be in every week's webcast, and that's called Everything Brett. Brett Favre is one of my all-time favorite players. His passion for the game is unmatched. So I love to share statistics and information about him that most people won't know. And the two stats I'd like to share with you today are career games. Career games with at least one touchdown pass, 243 in his 20-year career, and career games with at least 2 touchdown passes, 158. Amazing. I want to thank you guys all for viewing my very first webcast of Fan the Flame. Future shows will include guests for being a fan, and being a fan will have all kinds of fun stuff planned and specials. Our next webcast is Wednesday, the 14th of September. Share this with your friends on Facebook. Remember, also, this Sunday is the anniversary of 9/11. If you see a serviceman or woman, please make sure you make an effort to say thank you. Let's remember the lives lost and pray for our troops and our country, and may God bring them home soon. Thanks so much. We'll see you next Wednesday.